friends, Jeremy here. I just wanted to show off my new project. This little shelf is something that we had talked about putting in our house for a little bit now because to just leave our belongings on every flat surface that is around. So we wanted to build a shelf with some storage crates in it, and this is the end product. I'm pretty proud of it. I didn't do a build video on it because it was kind of spur of the moment thing, and I didn't plan it out, and I just went for it, and it actually took me a couple of weeks because I was distracted by a few other things. I've got a few more crates to build for it, and still working out all the layout, but I'm really happy with it, and I just wanted to share it with everybody. And I'll take some shots of it and show it off to you, and hopefully you like it. Tell me what you think, and I might explain a little bit about what it's made out of also. The majority of the build was this pallet wood that was left over from the bar build, and I just had an immense amount of this pallet wood. My neighbor was putting up siding, and I had got like 3 of those large pallets that siding comes on, so I just had a ton of it, and I've been using that up. This crate is actually made from some masonite that was thrown away, and this is more of that pallet wood I cut down to size, and I made this little crate. I'm still going to put handles on it too, but I really, with this whole project, I wanted it to look as beat up and distressed as possible, and I like trying to use materials that might not have any other use, and this is one of those materials that I get quite often that I don't know what to do with, and I try to use that paneling up. Now I have a project now that I'm working on that I hope that it turns out, because I'm looking forward to sharing that. And in one of my previous videos, if you've watched me for a while, you may have seen my giant toolbox. This is the remnants of my giant toolbox, and I had torn that apart and used that to make this crate. Actually, I've used it for several projects, and I just had some of that left over, more of that leftover pallet wood and some other miscellaneous. This top was some really spongy, really dry, terrible barn wood, but it has some significant value to me because I worked on the farm that this barnwood came from. I worked in the barn that this is made out of. One of my former co-workers is a photographer, and he actually took pictures of the barn before they tore it down, and he got some of this barn wood, and he had me make picture frames out of it, and he gave me what was left, and I had this sitting around, and I wanted to make something out of it, so it became this top. And like I said, this piece was really terrible, really spongy, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to use it, but I wanted to use it. It kind of had some sentimental value to me, you know. And so what I did was I just took some boiled linseed oil, and I just kept working it, and this is pretty much what I ended up with. I'm happy with it. I mean, it's good enough for who it's for. You know, I sanded it down good. I used these old screws to screw it to the top because I didn't want to deal with a bunch of L brackets, and I just wanted to look as rustic and rough as possible. The sides, this is kind of funny. This whole thing started out as a dresser that I was building, pretty much in the same beaten up, weathered look. I was going to make a dresser like that, and I kind of lost interest in it, and it sat around in the shop forever. And when my wife and I were talking about this, the idea came for me to use this, and I actually split it in half because it was originally only half this size, and put more runners from those pallets in between, and made it this wide. The edges are actually old oak door jambs, and I don't know if you can see it, the lights really mess with me here. Here's actually, I like leaving this kind of stuff in so you can see what it used to be. But there's where the latch plate was in the jamb. There may be a few other things like that. Actually, this did not get as much texture as I wanted, but I'm still working on it too, a little bit here and there. And I'm happy with it. My wife absolutely loves it. Another thing that happened to me is this molding. As I was doing this project, I've been cleaning up my shop as well, and I drug out my wood collection, my wood hoard, and I found this laying in the back. And I remember I'd pulled this out of a dumpster probably about 2 years ago, and I never used it. And I got looking at it, I was like, oh, that color is perfect. So you know, it really worked out well. It had, you know, it's got that rough texture to it that I wanted, and it makes it look like it's, well, I mean, parts of it are over 100 years old. You know, I don't know how old that molding is, but I'm pretty sure it's not something new. It probably came out of an old house in this area and just got thrown into the construction dumpster. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, I wish I had done a build video on it, and I just got caught up in the project and I didn't take the time to film any of it. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you're having a wonderful day. Live free and do no harm. See ya.